Hi, Sandra. Hope you're doing well. So I don't know if you're on this song yet or not. Depending on how happy you feel with how Amazing Grace is sounding. But this is the next one, so I figured I would just go over this. And at the very least, you could, even if you're still dedicating most of your time to this one, you could at least try, or you'd at least get a glimpse of like the first few measures. And it would be a good idea to try. I would say at least two measures of this one this week, even if you're mostly focusing on other stuff, just to get you started thinking about it, how it's going to go. Actually, I'm going to adjust this a little bit. Okay, so as you can see, it's going to be difficult to see the content of the page through the screen. So if you want to get your book open to page 144, this is Over the Rainbow. This one to me looks easier than Amazing Grace. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are some skills in here that you haven't needed for any of the other songs. I'm not totally sure. But, because it's been a long time since I first started learning piano. Well, not started. Obviously, you're past beginner stage now. But anyway, let's see here. This is actually a pretty decent arrangement here. Um, this is going to be... Okay, here's the nice thing about this one should probably be played rubato. Rubato is, I think, an adjective, but also a noun in music. And if you see the instruction rubato, it means to play without adhering to a metronomic beat, but instead to let the beat push and pull as you desire. So if I'm doing this to a straight on the beat, it would sound like this. Right, and that's fine. But this should probably be played rubato, which means you kind of go at your own pace throughout. So I think as you're like pushing and pulling, that's going to make it sound a lot prettier, I think. So that means that you have less expectation in terms of rhythm, right? As long as you know vaguely what the rhythm's supposed to be, you can kind of play it however you'd like, however it sounds good to you. Obviously, we want that to be a choice and not not the result of just not having learned it. But once you do learn the rhythm as written, then you can really pull it back and kind of play it how you like it. So speed up and slow down. Also, if you haven't already heard Keith Jarrett's famous live performance of this piece, you definitely should look that up. Yeah, just Keith Jarrett Over the Rainbow live. Um, Whatever the most popular video is probably going to be the right performance that I'm thinking of. And it's really, really nice. Okay, let's see. Okay, so looking at the left hand, that's probably going to be the hardest part because the left hand is moving around a lot. So I would learn that first, right? We start with a C chord. And then you're going to immediately have to shift hand positions a little bit to reach A. So you're going to have to move your thumb up to A. Yeah, and this is already awkward. Okay, and then you're going to have to play fingers 5 and 3 on E and G. And then you're going to have to play E and B flat. Okay. So already at measure 2, I can see that you're going to want to scoot your hand towards, this is called the fall board, by the way. This part of the piano right here. So you're going to want to scoot your hands toward the fall board during measure 2, right? So you go 1, 2, 3, and that way your thumb can easily reach that B flat without any risk of wrist injury over time. 1, 2, 3, like that. Now this next part is also kind of nice. So if once you've played that E and B flat with your 5th and 1st fingers respectively, then your second and fourth fingers will already be on F and A. So you need not even move back away from the fall board to play that. Your fingers will already be on them ostensibly. So, you play the E and the B flat, and then you just play fingers 2 and 4. And again, you don't have to move much for that, or at all even, right? Like I'll show you how I would do that if I start from the beginning. Right? They're right next to each other. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Interesting parts here. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Other than that, in the first part, I don't know if there are any, tricks that I can tell you about that'll help play these parts. It really is just a little tricky what the left hand is doing. Interesting. Yeah, but honestly, when we've been talking about this, but I would, really make sure you can play the left hand, let's say up to, honestly, maybe even up to the repeat sign. Maybe that would be a good, kind of first goal is be able to play the left hand by itself from the beginning to the repeat sign as if that were the song, right? So, while keeping a steady beat. Obviously, we said when you actually play it, you don't have to, but, just to make sure that you can. I would say a good benchmark, a good test of whether you've, mastered the left hand here would be, can you sing the melody that the left hand makes? It's not really playing a melody, but, can you, in your head, after playing it, can you think, okay, well, it goes, dum, bum, 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 ba-dum, bum. Like, can you actually hum what the left hand is playing? That's the kind of time and, respect that I like to, give to each hand, as if it were its own little song. Do I know that song well? And if not, I probably haven't played that hand alone enough times. And then, of course, the right hand, when you do it with the right hand, that'll be a lot easier because it's just the melody of the song, which I'm sure you know. Yeah, it's a pretty decent arrangement of this piece. Let's see here. Now let me look at the right hand. There's another example when you move towards the fall board. I don't know if people really think about that much. Yeah, even if you're just playing, okay, so at measure, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Measure 6. We start on C and E with fingers 2 and 4. When you get to that C sharp on beat 3, you're going to have to move towards the fall board to reach that. And so you want to prepare ahead, you can kind of see what I'm doing already. As I'm playing the notes leading up to that, I'm already kind of scooting in. Yeah. Let me just check how we're doing on time here. Okay, so I'll wrap it up in a minute, but let's see. I'll just go ahead and play this just so you can see it. I know there are videos online and all of that, just so you can see how I would play this. There we go. I realized at the last second that I did play something wrong. At the end, it does go. I didn't see that, but other than that, hopefully I didn't miss anything there. Okay, I'll go ahead and wrap it up there. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving next week, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Take care.